All right. Okay, Dre, we are live. I'm super excited to be able to connect with you tonight. I want to make sure I share this out a few places and give people a chance to jump on and catch us live. Give me 1 second. All right. All right. Let's see. Share here and one more place. All right. I'm in that change the game. All right, good evening, good evening. I'm super excited. This is passion strategist LaKeisha Hankins here, and I have a very awesome, phenomenal speaker featured guest tonight, Dré Cleveland
Yay.
from New York, right? I can't remember which part of New York. I want to say Bronx, but I might be wrong.
Brooklyn. Oh, not the Bronx, girl. Mm-mm. Brooklyn.
I was like, I might be wrong though if I say that, but definitely, I'm super excited to be able to connect with her tonight and share with her about her entrepreneur journey and the show is all about empowering women to live their best life and overcome challenges and just really to go after their dreams. So as you guys are jumping on, you definitely want to grab pen, piece of paper because she's definitely going to share some nuggets with us tonight. Definitely been waiting all week since like last week for this interview. And for those of you who are new, the She's Unleashing Her Passion show. I do this every second and third Thursday of each month, and we just kicked this off back in April. So this has been exciting, and it's been so many phenomenal women on this show, just really just sharing what it is that they do and their why behind them impacting other women and just stepping out on faith and starting their own business. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and if you have any questions, post your questions. We'll definitely try to answer those live. And if you're jumping on and you're catching the replay, hashtag replay, because we love our replay viewers and appreciate you for just allowing us in your space and taking the time to listen to this information tonight. And one thing I will say is, a lot of times we get onto these Facebook lives and we listen to the information, but hopefully that you take something away from tonight that you can actually implement or apply into your life and take that next step to build your business. So before I get started, I definitely want to make sure I'm gonna read this from this bio because, like I said, you are in for a treat. Like she is doing some amazing things out there in the streets, as they say. So I just want to share just a little bit about our special guest tonight. Our featured guest, Dré Cleveland, your personal power coach, is a prolific speaker, author. She's a life coach, intuitive healer, and the founder of the premier coaching and empowerment club for women and men of color who are focused on authentically and consciously creating massive results in their lives now, called the Power Players Club. So I can't wait to hear more about that. I'm going to ask some questions. And she has over 10 years of experience in the field of personal and professional development. And she's brought, you know, eye-opening and intriguing programs and keynotes to various businesses and social organizations, including the NYC Department of Education. And she's also been invited to speak on platforms nationally and international stages. And she shared some of the platforms with some of those powerhouse speakers that you all may have heard of, such as Bill Wash, Gary Cox, and Les Brown. And she's also been featured in a documentary called Head Ladies in Charge and has participated in various radio shows, okay, including the Jeff Fox radio show, and has several events at the New York Black Expo, the Sister to Sister Youth Summit, and also been featured on Essence.com. So when I say she knows her stuff, you definitely want to make sure that you are plugged in tonight, that you are taking notes. And like I said, if you have questions, ask questions because it's amazing when you can be able to talk to somebody who has actually already walked the walk, not just talking it. And she is definitely did that. So you are in the right place at the right time. For those of you who are jumping on with us tonight, and our topic tonight is all about the intentional business blueprint and tapping into your field of infinite and business potential. So I'm super excited, Dre. I know I kind of like did an introduction, but I'm like, Like I said, when I went out there, I checked out your website and stuff myself, and I'm like, okay, she is doing her thing, and she's amazing, and she's not some newbie. She definitely has some skin in the game, and my first question, looking at it, and when I was going back and looking at your bio, what is like what why are you called the personal power coach?
Well, first, thank you for having me. This is like super exciting to me. This is like a coming out party. Hence why I have my Dr. Dre right there on the screen. I just finished that. So
Oh, awesome. I did not see that at first. Congratulations.
thank you. But I mentioned that to say that this is the first interview that I'm doing after I spent so much time doing that. Um, And part of the reason why I did my doctorate was to enhance the idea of personal power. And I'm called your personal power coach because personal power is something that we don't tap into very often. And especially when it comes to like our businesses, like everybody like, oh, how you build an email list, I need to have content, I need to, all of these to do things. But then when we get stuck in our businesses and even in our lives, especially in our lives overall, we forget that at the heart of everything, we are the creators. It is always us. It's always us who is driving the train, who is making the shot in the basketball game. And really, far too often, we're like kind of sitting in the stands of life. And we're saying like, we're pointing fingers and cheering or booing, like if our team is winning or losing. But at the end of the game, we're really the ones that are playing, and we forget that a lot. So my whole goal in my business is to reconnect people to their personal power. So that's really the reason. And also because I used to be a teacher and I still am a teacher. And power just is the 5 power principles that I teach that train people to connect to their personal power.
Oh, awesome. So I love how you said that, how like we are the creators, because I think a lot of times, especially online, people do get caught up in thinking they need, this next strategy, or, sometimes some type of strategy to, build their list, or they need thousands of people on their list to build their business. And being that you've done events kind of like offline and online, did you actually start with building your business offline before, everything became all global and social media?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Most of my, even now, today, even though like a lot of my connections, including yourself, come from online when I started, and even now, most of my business actively is coming from just connections that I have that are not on Facebook.
I hope
So
somebody caught that. Did y'all catch that? She said it's coming, a lot of it's coming from connections that are not on Facebook. And in order to, make connections, it requires building relationships. And I think a lot of times, especially online, I think that gets lost when people are, they're busy, for the most part, promoting and trying to get their offers, and someone to, just tap into that lead magnet. Can, you share with us kind of like, some of you, I guess, your takeaways, like how you leverage like the offline marketing as far as like events?
well, and what my primary business is in the New York City public school system. So, like I said, I used to be a 5th grade teacher, and yeah, one of my favorite groups of children. I love all the children, but that was my favorite grade, my favorite age range. And so what I did is I just made sure, like you said, building connections with people that you have relationships with, cultivating relationships, and just reconnecting to people that as I was teaching, that I got to know that maybe they were teachers before, now they're principals. They know people, people know people. So if you do a great job for them, they tell other people.
Absolutely. You're so right on that. And, you tapped into this a little bit, and like, what is your why behind what you do?
The main thing, like I said, is that I really want to connect people to their personal power. I want people to remember that they are the creator. Like we're not any of the things that we think we are. Yes, we are mothers, we're daughters, we're sisters, we're cousins, we're entrepreneurs, we're whatever we label ourselves as.
Mhm.
But at the core of everything, all of us are the creators of our lives. And that's where our power lies.
Right. So when you are, I guess, for the most part, working with, your clients or, so like, how do you, is there like a question or something that you ask them as far as like helping them to reconnect with, their true authentic selves, reconnecting with their power? Like, what does that look like, that process?
Well, as far as questions, the main question is really, who do you think you are?
Hmm.
That is it. Because and what I just told you really is usually the bulk of the answer. Everyone answers with,
Their titles.
right, all of the labels of who they are, who they know themselves to be in the world. But those labels are what stifles us a lot
Hmm.
of the time, and especially when it comes to women in business and or people starting a business, and they believe because I'm a mother and I have 5 kids, that means I can't do this, or because I don't have a degree, I
Hmm.
can't do this. All the things that we label ourselves as and perceive to be barriers are what's stopping us. So it makes it very difficult to create what you want if you're bound by all these labels. So just stripping that away, helping people strip that away and realize that underneath all of that, you are like the diva manifester.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I also love one of the things that that I noticed is because a lot of times when I'm connecting with other, coaches or professionals online, their audience is only, women. And I love that your empowerment club is for men and for women. So we talked a little bit kind of like how those labels, and I think I definitely see that a lot as far as like women, how we get caught up with our labels and thinking that's what's defined us. Do you see the same thing kind of like in men? I'm just
Absolutely.
really okay. I'm just curious because I'm like I don't for the most part work with probably work with probably like 2 men in my whole coaching you know over 8 years or so. So I was just wondering.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. It's a human thing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I was just wondering. I was like, I wonder if it applies there too. So we talked. You mentioned. I mentioned a little bit about your whole intentional business blueprint. Like, what is that? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, well, overall, it does encompass a lot of what I just said. So,
Mhm.
like normally, like we think of a blueprint, like I said, it's like, okay, first you have to build the list, then you have to have your content, or then you have to have your concept, or whatever it is, then you have to know marketing. Like that is a blueprint. Yes, it is. And that is not the most important part of what makes our business successful. Because guarantee you, and I've been in that position plenty of times, so I know, maybe yourself as well, like going through courses and learn those things, that's important. But if you're not tapped
Mhm.
into your own personal and who you are as the actual manifestation vehicle of your business, you could know all that stuff all you want to, it won't take you anywhere. You just have like a course that you didn't
More
stop.
information.
Right. You have is collecting dust on your bookshelf or in your computer. You can't even find it anymore because you didn't ever use it or open it up. So, all of that stuff is important, yes, but it should arise naturally out of who
Mm.
you want yourself to be in your business and who you're cultivating yourself to be as a business owner. So the
I think
intentional,
that's so important.
yeah. Um,
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
so
listening. Go ahead. I'm taking notes over here.
all right. But so the intentional business blueprint is really what's the blueprint for how you create in your business? What is your intention? How are you emanating that intention? Who's the person driving the train, so to speak, right? What is this
Right.
person putting into the world? What is this person putting into the universe as who you are? What's the energy that you have behind? Because ultimately, we all already have a intentional business blueprint. We have an intentional life blueprint already as well. But because we're not necessarily coherent about it, our results don't necessarily match what we think that we want. So you know what your blueprint is by what your results are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if your business is not making money, you're constantly stuck on that thing. No matter what you do, you just can't reach past a certain level. That's what your blueprint is. Right. And likewise, it could be with relationships. It can be with your health. It can be with really any area of your life. Your blueprint is what's actually being printed out into your experience every day. So kind of like our computers, right? And we type in
Mm-hmm.
our computers and we writing this whole report or whatever we're doing, right? And then you press print on your printer. Whatever you put in there is what you're gonna see on the paper.
Right, right.
And you can take all the white out you want and try to erase some things and write over it, scribble over it, whatever. But if you print again from your computer, you're gonna get the same thing. So it's the
Oh, I
blueprint.
love that analogy.
Yeah, it's the to me it's the best one because we can all visualize that. We all use
Right.
computers and we've all had that issue where every time we print out, it's like, why is that mistake still there? Well, you have to change the program, right? And
Absolutely.
so what okay, a lot of people do talk about that. People do talk about how you have to change your mindset, change your programming, but it is a little bit deeper than that. And I think that's what's really important about the intentional business blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Deeper than changing your mindset is understanding that, by you changing your mindset, the result is that you create differently. And people think, well,
Absolutely.
yeah. And the law of attraction is like a real thing. Like that's not like a woo-woo thing that somebody made up one day, put in a book and said it was nice. We all experience it in our lives all the time, but because we don't really know how to use it, we don't really understand the power of it. We don't understand our creative process of that. So that's why people are
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it doesn't work. That's not like a real thing. Absolutely it is. And we don't realize that the flow of
Absolutely.
business, yeah, and the flow of our business is directly related to what we're literally creating from within us. And that's like a super powerful thing. That's the source of our power. We just are not very clear about that.
So that brings me to like so how you're talking about kind of like how the whole law of attraction, like how does manifestation, like how does that work in your business?
The same way that it works in any other way. So I'll give you a good example of this, right? So for the last couple of
Mhm.
years, I've had a part-time job. I already said I'm never having a full-time job again. That's just not a thing that's happening. And I have a part-time job, which I love very much. I'll tell you that story later. But
Okay.
within the last couple of years, and like I said, I slowed down a lot on my business because I was working on my dissertation and my doctorate. And just recently, it occurred to me that I also have a thing about like when I'm making a lot of money, like I unconsciously hear myself saying, stop, that's enough. And it shocked me. So what happened,
Mm,
there were all kind of reasons and situations and all kind of things that you can't control, that I can't control, that that reflected to me exactly what I was thinking, right? So whenever more is coming and I'm going, that's
okay.
enough, the universe is saying, well, she said that's enough. So, well, that's enough. And then I'm trying to figure out like why my money is stopping. So once I really start to get clear on that, that's what I've been doing. I've been inviting it more. Like I've been being very bold with people, and I let them know, listen, I need my money. I don't know what you're talking, but I need my money. Maybe I don't say it like that, but
Right, absolutely.
but I say that to say just to,
So when you notice that you're doing it,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm just sorry to interject, but when you notice that you're doing that, that you're actually, saying that and putting that out there in the atmosphere, like, are there some steps or, something that you do as far as like backing up and, the whole change that whole direction?
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, that's the first thing, just to acknowledge it, And then once you
Mhm.
acknowledge it, you can redirect your thoughts, right? You have to be clear that you are doing that and then say,
Mhm.
and just redirect the thought. Like it's super simple. Like it's more simple than we might think it is. But
Right.
the other thing is too that we have to be clear that we've left energetic residue, right?
Ooh, I love
And
that. Okay. Yes.
I think like especially like for us, like we're looking like, oh, I said I want to make $100,000 in my business this year, and I'm still stuck here. I'm still wherever I'm at, or I made like little tiny stops along the way, and I didn't make $100,000. It didn't just like fall into my bank account. But the thing that we have to remember is that we do have that energetic residue. It does take time for creation to manifest. Just like, if you have a flower, you don't put a seed in the ground and be like, man, why isn't it a flower? I just planted the seed and it should be a flower right now. You don't think like that. You know that it takes time for the flower to mature and grow, right? But we don't usually think that way about what we're saying that we want. And so our thoughts go haywire. We're sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes up, and we don't create steady flow and intention in what we're saying that we want and what we're creating because we're looking at the result and getting mad at the result. And then our emotions and our thoughts go with what the result is. So if the result's not what you want, you're upset about it. Your thoughts are going there. Your emotions are there. Everything is haywire. And now you're recreating from that point again.
Wow. Yes.
So it's very important to realize like, okay, when this is happening, just be chill. This is just part of the process. Some of this is from the old stuff. And
Mhm.
that's what, and like I said, that happens in this relationships too. It's health too. It's everything. Just because you see evidence of things that were happening before doesn't mean you're not making progress. So it's important to really like pay attention and point out where you see the differences, where you see, movement, where you see growth, where you see a little plant sprouting out of the ground. You see the little leaves, you see the little buds. It's like,
Right.
oh, it's happening. My plant is growing. That's what you need to look for so that you can stay on an even keel and an even focus. That's the intention, right?
Yes. And
That's
that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. So, just really just seeing how we have to be intentional in every area pretty much of our life in order to get what it is that, our hearts desire and making sure like you said, you really connecting with your blueprint, reconnecting with your true authentic self and how you're showing up and acknowledging that. So it's definitely, this is good, the whole talking about tapping into your whole personal power. Because like you said, I believe, definitely as women, sometimes we don't realize how much power that we have and it's left untapped and really just I love how you are just really impacting and helping women to reach that full potential or realize that potential that they didn't realize that they even had. So I think me personally, I definitely understand the whole importance of having a coach or a mentor to be able to to help you with that
yeah.
and stuff. So, it's great that you facilitate that process and that you made that part of, the work that you do. So I think that's very incredible. And, like I said, gosh, like I said, she has some skin in the game, lady. She has been, on platforms with, like I said, those like Elastic Brown, been featured in Essence, all these different things. So Dr. Dré, look at that. Dr. Dré knows her stuff. And, sometimes we look at people's, success and, everything that they've done and you're looking at that. But I know, in your business, I'm sure that as as business owners, we experience our wins, we have our successes, but there's also those days when we have obstacles and challenges and disappointments when we're ready to throw it in the towel. Can you share like one of your challenges and or how you overcame it, also most importantly?
Definitely. Actually, that happens to be the story I said I'll tell you later.
Cool.
So,
Look at
um,
that.
because for about 5 years, maybe before I had this part-time job, I basically just had my business as my primary source of income. But I still had some, wobbly places in terms of whether or not it could be sustainable. Like, am I going to be able to like always be making money from my business? Remember, I told you I have that problem
Mhm.
about saying stop and then be like, okay, stop, right? So this happened a couple of years ago, and I literally lost my biggest contract in the Board of Ed. So, like I said, most of my work is in the Board of Ed, training teachers actually how to be intentional in their classroom, to be able to motivate and inspire their students' success from that intentional space.
Right.
But I had a contract that was most of my income, and I didn't listen. I felt in my gut that it was time for me to leave, and I didn't do that. And that same year, I lost that contract, and I wasn't prepared to do anything else. I hadn't like gone to any of the schools, and I just didn't have it together. Let's just put it that
Right.
way.
Right.
Um, but what I did learn from that, because that became a spiral, like a whole thing. Like, you can't pay your rent, now you got to go to court, now you got to worry about if you're gonna, get evicted. Like that wasn't fun. I was in court on my birthday that year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was not cute. I had on a cute dress and everything. I was ready, but I was at court doing that. So I say that to say, that was one of the biggest challenges that I had. One, I learned, always be prepared. Don't really like just focus on one thing. But as I said before, the things that you know to do in your business, in your life, wherever the case is, this is a good point of that. No matter what to do, if you have a certain way that you are experiencing life, or your actions follow that. It's not the other way around. So you could know to do a lot of things. That doesn't mean that you're going to do it, right? And so
Right.
even though I know logically I should always be, getting business, or always be fostering those relationships to get the business, me in my brain, I was like, oh, I have enough because I have this contract. That's
Right.
it.
You was like, I'm good. Sometimes we get very comfortable and
Hmm.
stuff, and complacent with where we are, especially if it's working and stuff. So we're like, oh, don't rock the boat.
Right.
But one of the things that you said is that you could feel it. You had that intuition that something was coming on the horizon, and sometimes we ignore that. So definitely, and I like that you shared that, because I think that was definitely one of my things. Starting off in my own business, when I had the coaching, I actually got laid off from my job, and then I was doing the coaching business and stuff. But at the same time, it was that whole fear of, can't I maintain this income, or this success, to be able to live off of it, because you got so comfortable with knowing, like, every 2 weeks that I have this set amount of income and stuff that's coming in, and benefits and all these different things. So it was definitely one of those things for me, where I realized I was definitely pushing money away, or not showing up in my business, because of that whole fear of success, or that I wasn't going to be able to maintain it. And then when we stayed, I'm originally from Vegas, so we had a clothing store out there, and it was doing great, until the economy got bad, and all those went downhill and all that stuff. So, like, all of that was coming back up, because my husband, he's an entrepreneur too. So I'm like, oh, we got two entrepreneurs in the house. One of us needs to have some type of stable, consistent income. So
Yeah.
it's definitely quick to be like, okay, let me get back into corporate America, where I know it was safe, but at the same time, oh my gosh, it would just be like draining my energy every day, going back into that place, especially when I knew that I was called to do something more. So I definitely understand how, that whole fear of, how you push what it is that you say that you want, you push it kind of like out of your life, because subconsciously, like, you're doing it and stuff, but it's just like, oh, just the whole getting over that. And it's a process.
It is. It is. It does take that retraining, like reprogramming what's in your computer, and really
Mhm.
believing that, living from it. And even when you don't quite believe it yet,
Right.
you're still, practicing putting that energy and looking for the evidence of it, so you start to believe it, because the universe works like that. Like, it doesn't work on just because you said something, right?
Right.
It works on because you really believe it. So you could be saying a lot of things, but you look at your results and you know exactly what you really believe, because that's what's showing up in your life. You can't really
Right.
fool
'Cause
you.
I'm always like, you get results regardless. If you show up or you don't show up, you're getting results, kind of thing.
You can't fool the universe. You can't even really fool yourself. If you're honest with yourself, you look at your results and you see where you're at, and that's, exactly what it is that you really believe, and what it is that you're really creating. And so it makes you really tune into what that frequency is and really be
Mhm.
like focused on. Like I said, like I have no problem now saying like, nope, keeps me some money. My father used to say that all the time. That used to be his mantra, keeps me some money. So that's what I do. But I
Say
said,
that again for me.
huh?
Was it teach me some money?
Keeps me some money.
Keeps me some money. Oh, I like that. Okay. I'm like, okay, all right, Pops.
But I say what to say. That's what I was gonna say before, because I've started practicing that. Literally, I got 2 contracts back to back. One of them was kind of stalled from before, and it just wasn't moving. Like,
Hmm.
it just came, all of this happened like this year. And like I said, I wasn't focused on it because I was finishing my dissertation. Wasn't even thinking about that. I was like, let me finish all this and then I'll do that. No, they just came. Like, one principal, she was like, yeah, I need what you do. How much does it cost? And she just paid for it at the end of the year. This
Wow.
is the end of the year right now, you know. And another one, it was just a school parent parent thing, and that
Hmm.
was, we were working on that since before the new year. And then it was just like, oh yeah, we have a date, here you go, and also what's your information so we could pay. But my point is, the energy was flowing, and that's my point. You don't need to do anything. There's no things to do that move your business forward. Yes, there are things that you should probably know how to do and that will be helpful, but once your mindset, not even a mindset, but once your space is clear, that's a better way to say
Hmm.
it. It's not your mindset. It's not really your
Yes, that's deep. Yes.
mindset. You know, once
So
the
I
space
hope,
is clear.
yes. I'm like, whoever's listening to this, and if you need that, I'm hoping that you catch that. That it's not necessarily, the next strategy or the next, marketing, tactic or so that you need. But if you are struggling in your business, pay attention to the information, the nuggets that she's dropping there. There's a deeper level sometimes that you have to go in order to get your breakthrough in your business.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited. Thank you for sharing that and sharing your story and stuff and how you've overcome and everything. One of the, I noticed, too, like I said, you out there doing your thing, that you're also an author. You've published of, I think it's two books. I know I saw, was it
Agree.
is it three? Okay, three books. So one of the ones that definitely caught my attention was God is Woman. Can you tell us a little bit more about that one? The title definitely caught my attention. I was checking out your website.
Okay. Which is wonderful. That's actually the first book that I wrote, that I
Oh,
published. And it's called God is a Woman: 7 Keys to Self-Empowerment, Self-Love and Empowerment for Women. And I wrote that under my original pen name, which was Keone Carter. And that book really was a labor of love. That was before I started coaching. That's actually the reason
wow.
why I started coaching, that book. Because I had so many friends, like I've gone through a lot of things just in life in general. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had several friends, several people that will always ask me, like, well, how did you, get through that? Or I'm going through something like that. And then, that it just sparked me to be like, you know what? A lot of this is because, we don't focus on loving ourselves. We don't focus on
Mm-hmm.
um, what empowers us and what will make us a better woman, a better wife, a better girlfriend, mother, friend, all those things, because we don't focus on us. So that book is about what keys to help us to redefine ourselves and reconnect to ourselves. Another level of personal power, but that was before
Yes.
it was
I'm
developed
like,
to that.
okay, definitely. So she definitely has an arsenal of, like I said, you definitely want to check out her website and stuff. And then, speaking of that, Dr. Dre, I get to call you Dr. Dre now. Dr. Dre, do you have any, upcoming events? What's on the horizon for you? Like, what's next?
Well, I do have a couple of events that I'm working on, and one of them is a webinar, online class about the energy of money. So that's coming
Mm-hmm.
up next month, near to the end of the month. So that'll be fun. And just relaunching the Power Players Club, which is super exciting because it has been on hold, like I said, for a couple of years. Um,
Okay.
and so I'm really excited to just put it back out there and give people an avenue to really learn and understand their personal power in whatever places in their lives are important to them, that they feel stuck in, that they feel like there's no clear space for them to create in. So
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So with the Power Club, or is it Players Club?
Yes, the Power Players Club. Some people say
Power
the
Players Club. Okay.
and it reminds me of a strip club.
Right. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, hold on. I don't think I got that right.
Uh,
Is that virtual or is that, locally?
it's both. It's both.
Mhm.
So it does have a virtual platform, and we do some things virtually because we do have people who don't live directly in New York. But there are
Okay.
things that we do live. So, for instance, this coming year when we launch, we're planning a meetup, which I don't know
Okay.
where it's going to be yet. I'm feeling New Orleans because I just really want to.
Ooh. I've
But
never been to New Orleans.
see, that's what I'm telling you. Me too. So, but just a place for, members to a central, not central, but like a place that's not just because I live there, everybody has to come there. Not necessarily. We could all meet somewhere and just have fun, get to know each other, and play because play is super important to creating flow. And so that's,
Yeah.
that's part of
Oh,
what
I
the
love that.
do. So yeah, so that answers that question. There's live components, but a lot of it is virtual.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is amazing. So for those of you who are just jumping on or possibly going back and catching the replay, you definitely want to connect with Dr. Dré Cleveland. You want to, find her at your personal, what I had your handles up, and let me see, make sure what's your handles, Dr. Dré?
At your personal power coach.
Okay, your personal hour coach, and I'll make sure I drop those, and or either she'll go back and we'll drop that in the comments, the guys, to make sure you guys have that information so you can definitely connect with her. But before we get off tonight, because I do know that you have a special offer for us tonight, your money magnet. I'll make sure I post that in the comments as well, so that people can take advantage of this free offer. But can you tell us what this is, what it is, and like who it is for? Like who should go and grab this like right now?
The money magnet is actually an assessment, so it lets you know exactly where you are in each level of power. All of the letters of power are representative of one of the principles that will help you to create that clear channel for you to create and start moving things and flowing things into your life. So it's an assessment, and you can see like very clearly where you need to do the most work. So that assessment is for really anyone. It's really for anyone, but
Okay.
because we all get stuck places. We all, especially when it comes to money. Like I find in my practice that is like almost number one on the list. Like people with money, either I need to make more money, I don't know how to make more money, I don't have enough money, where did my money go? I tried to save some, I don't know. Like it's always something around money, right? So that's like a
Right, our relationship with money.
right, right, exactly. Especially as people of color, because it's not something that energetically has been trained into us as something that flows.
Yes,
So
absolutely. Oh, that could be a whole nother conversation. I'm like,
the
oh,
energy of
it
money,
definitely could be a whole nother conversation
that is
about our relationship with money, and gosh. So super excited. This has been amazing. And like I said, I'll make sure I drop that information in the comments, so that people can connect with those with us. And for those of you who are still online, I'm definitely loving the comments. Thank you guys for joining us live. If you have any questions before we end tonight's She's Unleashing Her Passion show, drop those in there now, and I'll be sure that Dr. Drake can answer a couple of those before she gets off. Or if you haven't, you definitely want to share this information out. That's one of the ways that you can always support another entrepreneur that's getting out there and sharing their information, and really just dropping you all these, this nuggets and this wisdom from their experience. I think sometimes that's the best, sometimes that's the, life in our experience is like the best teacher. And she's, sharing some of the information that has helped her to overcome in her business, and, really just take her business to the next level and empower so many other people. So if you are listening to this, definitely do us a favor, share this information out, get it into the hands of others. Just it's really just about helping other, women and men to really tap into their personal power. So I think that's definitely very important, and I'm glad that you were able to get on with us tonight and and share with us just a little bit. And that little bit was just so powerful. So, those of you who are not connected with her, you definitely want to make sure you reach out and connect with Dr. Dré. You want to make sure that you're following her over at your personal, I want to say power coach. I should have this in front of me because I keep wanting to say your group's name for the power players. So now it's all tongue tied. But this has been amazing. Thank you, Michelle, for jumping on. Yes, Gloria, excellent quality seeds. She is awesome, right? So thank you for jumping on and hanging out with us tonight. And David, welcome to the live. Keisha Bass, she said that is, this is so good. And she said, yes, who got my money? So we're talking about that. I love her energy. And of course, Stephanie, yes. So the feedback has just been amazing. Like I said, thank you so much. Won't take up too much more of your time, but we'll definitely make sure that we stay connected. And guys, I'll make sure you guys have all of her information so you can, definitely go back and listen to the replay and, stay in touch with her because she has some amazing things on the horizon that you definitely don't want to miss out on, especially next month as she's talking about the whole your money. Yeah, so it's very important and stuff. So, and I love this. I'm telling you, just from my small connection with her, that this will be great because it's not necessarily about the next strategy that you need. So, if you are looking to experience a breakthrough in your life or in your business, you definitely want to make sure that you are connected with her and stuff. So, I don't, push too many people like that. But when I see greatness, and I know that it could help so many other people in their life and their business, I'm all about sharing and getting the message out there. And so thank you again for pouring into us tonight and sharing. So that is it, guys. And David, guess what? When this finishes, you can hit the replay and watch it from the beginning to the end, and share definitely your takeaways with us. All right, you guys have a good evening.
Good evening, everybody.